So now I have all of this done. I'm in front of the class. The objective is on the board. What happens?
Okay, so after you've introduced it, after you've gone over the vocabulary, I want to give you some strategies on vocabulary in the objective. So one of the strategies, of course, you are annotating the objective, predicting those unfamiliar vocabulary words. You can use text to whirl, or we would say here, word to whirl. A lot of times that's a strategies in order to, that teachers use in order for students to really understand or make a connection with that unfamiliar vocabulary. So text to whirl or word to whirl. The next one that I suggest is
What
text to
is
self.
what's word to whirl? What does that look like? Word to
Um,
whirl.
Connecting the vocabulary with a event that's going on in your world today.
Can you give us an example?
Let's see. An example would be if I say that I am, this is an elementary example. So mowing the grass, okay? Mowing the grass. And they don't know what the word mowing is. So I can connect. What's something that your mother or father, or maybe someone else that comes to your house weekly, what do you see them doing outside? And they can say mowing the grass, or they're pushing a machine. What's happening to the grass? So that is an event that happens frequently. It could be weekly, two weeks. It could be something that is it could be something that you see that they may see during the news. Something's going on in our city, and you can connect it to that as well.
Word to whirl would be taking a word that's maybe unfamiliar to them and making it relevant to where they are and what they're experiencing right now.
Yes. And then the next one, it leads into our next one, word to self. So that's basically using their own knowledge. How can it connect with them? An example of this would be the word artificial. This actually is a word that was on our domain vocabulary chart 2 weeks ago. Artificial. So what Miss Peete did was artificial. We know it means fake or not real, and so I had braids in at the time. So I took some of my braids. I said, when you get your hair braided, or if you have box braids or whatever, the hair that they use, is it your hair? This is artificial. This is not our hair. And so not real. It's not your real hair.
Yes.
Right. And so it causes some, giggling and
Yes.
but they made that connection and it's stuck in their mind.
Absolutely.
Want to be able to engage them, and when they cross that word, and when we're reading, we go back to the definition, and the example that Miss Peete gave.
So when you say the definition, so you give them what type of definitions do you give them?
So you'll give them like the definition of the word, like Webster definition of the word, and then I may scaffold it and break it down. But then that connection is I'll connect it with a world event or a background knowledge that they may have, connecting it to themselves.
And they can put it in their own words, so that in the words that they will use to remember it.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And that's what the connections with the self, the background knowledge, the world events, it helps them to put it in their own words. Those strategies.
Okay, thank you. So now we've put the objective on the board. You've read the objective and introduced it to them, and you've gone through and you've introduced the vocabulary. You've done word to whirl. You've done word to self. What's next?
There's another strategy that you can use, which is decoding, using your prefixes and your suffixes to break down the meaning of a word with our vocabulary as well. Also, I just want to point out the importance of front loading that vocabulary prior to getting into the text. That's important. So again, when they're reading, they can really understand what's being read. They can comprehend what's being read. Why? Because that vocabulary has already been front loaded. So those strategies, word to whirl, word to self, decoding, and of course, front loading the vocabulary prior to text reading.
Give me an example of decoding, helping them to decode.
Okay, the word is dislike. And so the prefix is dis. The prefix dis means not. So anytime you put dis in front of the word, it means in front of the beginning of a word, it means the opposite. So not like. So that's how you break down with decoding.
Mm.
Break down a word.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that. And front loading essentially is you're building background knowledge on the spot. You're building background knowledge right there, because as they encounter that word in the text, they've already encountered it with you in the beginning as they were and really you planned for this in your planning when you were doing the misconceptions.
Exactly. Making
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.